Hello and welcome to Basiltov, the courage and creativity of ADHD. I'm Jen.
I'm Ellen.
And I'm alive.
Yay! Annette's alive today.
She's barely
And
here, but she's
just
here.
barely. She's here.
Oh,
She's been sick for weeks and now she's alive and back with us here on the earth and not in the
yay!
underworld. Yes.
Yes.
Poor Annette.
Today, we've got speaking of life, we have an interesting topic because it's not one that a lot of people associate with ADHD, especially those people who don't know that this is an available resource for them. We're going to be talking about pets and therapy animals for ADHD specifically. Yay!
Yay.
We all
We
love
love
dogs and
animals.
cats and ferrets and guinea pigs and
Mhm.
turtles and whatever, but
Oh, yeah. Between the three of
they're
us, we have
therapeutic.
that's right. They are. I was gonna say we have so many pets between the three of us too. Yeah.
I know. Mostly the two of us, me and
Yeah.
Ellen. Annette
And
has a goldfish that apparently is evil. Did I remember that correctly? It's
My
possessed.
my goldfish. I got this goldfish from a festival in Japan where you like play a game catching fish. My daughter's caught 9 goldfish.
oh.
He killed all the other goldfish. He's now
Oh,
he's now 5 years old. There are no other fish in this tank cuz I don't trust him. And he's massive, and we named him Gladiator cuz he killed off all the other fish.
Oh my God!
yeah.
Did you watch him kill the other
Oh yeah,
fish?
he would
You
attack
witnessed
him.
it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And he's
Damn.
he is just a goldfish. He's not like a fighting fish or anything. He's just a
Yeah.
goldfish. But he
Oh
would
my
go up and
gosh.
like bang them into like the walls or like suck off their scales.
Oh
Oh.
Yeah.
my
He's
gosh.
he's evil, but he's also very smart and he knows who I am and he knows that I'm the one who feeds him. So if other
Oh.
people get him to his tank, he's like, I don't care about you. But if I come to the tank, he gets so excited.
Oh
Wow.
my gosh,
So
that's funny.
an evil goldfish. I don't know if that would make the greatest therapy pet, but you
Oh
know.
For Annette
no.
it is. Annette bonds with evil goldfish. That's
I
just her
mean,
thing.
it's just mad respect.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But don't you
Yeah,
have
it makes
cats?
sense.
Don't you have
Oh,
cats too?
I did have cats, and then
Okay.
mother-in-law moved in, and she hates cats, so she
Oh.
made
But
my
you've
life
had many cats.
miserable. So yeah, my
Mhm.
babies live now with at my parents' house. So
Okay. That's
well,
right. Yes.
my baby, one of them passed away from old age,
Oh.
but my Tommy boy, he's a massive half Maine Coon cat,
Ooh.
and he is absolutely crazy and lovely. And
Mm.
yeah, he's my dad's best friend now.
Oh,
Oh.
cool.
Yeah, animals really are therapeutic. Like,
Yeah.
they provide
Yeah.
so much joy, so much love, and,
Mhm.
they are a lot of work, though, so, there's
Yeah,
pros and
but
cons. Yeah.
but for ADHD people, that work actually turns out to benefit us. There's been multiple studies
Oh.
done on it just in general, the effect of pets on human beings. And, it's the studies say that things like we live longer
Mhm.
if we have pets. We have a more joyful, fulfilled life if we have pets. We have reduced anxiety and depression if we have pets. We have um we tend to pay more attention to details if we have pets. So obviously the paying attention to details part is particular to ADHD because we all have a problem with, a bunch of tiny details becoming a landslide that's, too overwhelming for us. So um, you know, pets can actually benefit us. And I was reading a study or an article that was saying that just the routine involved in taking care of a dog. Dogs have to be walked, they have to be fed on time, they have to be given water, they have to be bathed and brushed and, taken care of like you would take care of a child almost.
Mhm.
And that routine that you would get yourself into, where you take the dog on a walk at 7 a.m. every morning or 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. every night, whatever, that actually helps ADHD people build routines for the rest of their life too.
That totally makes sense. Yep,
Yeah.
yep. Yeah, my cats I mean, they're not as strict of a routine as a dog would be, I would say, but they definitely keep me, focused. They let me know when they're hungry.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And so it is good for me to have something other than myself to look after. I mean, I also have my kids, of course, too. But
Yeah.
yeah. But for people that don't have kids, yeah, having a pet would be good to have something else to look after. But
Yeah.
what about when it gets overwhelming? And you don't want to clean the litter box and you don't want to do all those
Hmm.
tasks. Ugh.
Yeah. I
Then having a
think
pet can
that
suck.
obviously you're going to have to choose a pet that resonates with you. So, like,
Right.
some people who don't like litter boxes are probably going to be more prone to choose, like, a dog, for instance, because dogs don't have litter boxes all the
Mhm.
time, or at least not the larger breed ones, and they do need to be taken for walks and everything. But maybe somebody says, oh, well, I'd prefer to take a dog for a walk rather than have to clean out a litter box every day. Well,
Mhm.
okay, then that's your clear choice. It would be, something more like a dog. Also, dogs in particular have been used for as therapy animals for many different illnesses or disabilities. And something that you can actually teach an ADHD psychiatric service dog to do is go and get your medication for you. So
Aw.
the animal can be there to help remind you, hey, medication. Animals can also be, or dogs can also be trained to do things like sense depression and anxiety breakdowns, and they will come to you and lay on you to put weight on you and soothe
Yes,
you.
I've seen videos of that on TikTok of like I saw like
Yeah,
a German Shepherd comfort this girl who was I think she was just demonstrating it, but she looked like what she'd normally look like if she was having a panic attack. And honestly, it didn't she didn't really even make it look that obvious. There were just little subtle clues, but the dogs know. They're trained, I
yeah,
guess. I mean,
yeah,
that's so cool.
Yeah, but it's very, very difficult to find dogs that are trained specifically for those things. And
I
when you
believe
do it,
it. Yeah.
you usually you have to go through a lot of different programs. There's applications you have to do, there's fees you have to pay. So it's not feasible for just anybody to be able to get a service dog that will do those specific magical things for you.
Oh, totally.
So,
That's
exactly.
like a rich person thing, kind of.
If you want
Unfortunately.
an
or
already trained
highly
one,
disabled. If you are
yeah,
Mm.
highly disabled, then you will you can apply for those programs. But like if your
hmm
disability is mild, you're not going to be able to get your hands on one of those animals. You would have to have it
Mm.
trained yourself, which costs a lot of money.
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
and there are programs that, like, there are more cost-effective ways to do it that are, I guess, lesser known. I've heard of people who I've actually particularly spoken with, like, firsthand, that have said, "Oh, well, this is my service dog in training. We're going through programs." And, so they were able to get their hands on some kind of curriculum that they do independently by themselves. And if they finish it, then they can have their dog certified as a, certified therapy animal.
Oh, that's
A lot
cool.
of
So
people,
you can do it yourself,
yeah,
kinda. Oh, I didn't know that.
exactly.
You can, but you
Because
have to be able to find that program. You have to be able to have
Yeah.
yeah,
that spot, and it is a lot of it.
exactly.
It's a huge time dedication to do that.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah. But rather than spending a few $1,000s, like, I mean, if you wanted to go out and purchase a dog that is already service trained for your disability and you don't have to put in any work at all, you're talking about like a five to $10,000 expenditure right there.
Right.
They
Wow.
are not cheap, of course, because they take lots of time and care. And if you wanted to do that yourself, then you're talking about the cost of a puppy out of one of the breeds that would be notoriously good for service. And,
Mhm.
you'd have to consult with the breeder. You can't just choose any dog. You have to choose one that seems to have the personality that suits it. And not every single individual even inside of a breed will check that box.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you
and
have
then
to
there's
be patient, even though that's hard for ADHD people. I know how hard that
Mhm.
is. I do. but you have to be patient for
And
it.
it's very important to note that you would have to find a program that fits the specific needs that you would have, because
Hmm.
the majority of those programs are going to be for like blind guidance and those
Service
kind of
dogs.
disabilities. That's the majority of the programs. It's very rare that you would find one for like specifically looking at anxiety and panic attacks.
Well, that's
Like
what I was gonna say. There's a
that's very
difference
specially
here.
trained.
Right. We're talking about service dogs that help like blind people and disabled people, and then there's therapy dogs.
Yeah.
There's difference. Yeah, yeah. And so like, but I mean, any dog with the right personality can be a therapy dog
Yeah.
unofficially.
Yeah,
Well,
you could pick a dog up at the pound for $50 and it just so happens to
Yeah.
have the right personality and you can train it. Hey, there you
Hmm.
go. But that's kind of a luck thing.
but
Yeah,
I don't
totally.
to the best of my knowledge, I don't think that a therapy dog has to be trained.
That's what I was
Especially with
wondering. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
especially with mental disabilities. If you have anxiety and having an animal with you calms your anxiety, you can technically get a prescription for them to be your therapy dog. They don't have to do any
Hmm.
specific training.
Right, but you can't use the words service dog
No,
to
it's a therapy
No.
dog.
yeah, it's called a therapy dog then. It would only be a service dog, and it would even be called a psychiatric service dog. It's not
Mm.
even considered a regular service dog, but a psychiatric service dog if you were to specifically train it to, like, let's say, go get your medication for you or tug on your sleeve if you've forgotten your medication at a certain time of day, or, you know, come to you if you are having a massive breakdown and nurture you in a specific way, like that would
Hmm.
be more of the psychiatric service dog versus just having an animal there to comfort you and have you pet it when you need to for emotional support.
If I was going to train Ellen's psychological service dog, I'd train
Hmm.
it to always know where her iPhone is.
Yes.
Yes. I would love that to have my dog. Where's my phone? That dog just would know that phrase and orf, go get it for me.
You
Yep.
know what? You can actually train a psychiatric service dog to locate an ADHD child that's wandered off.
Oh, nice. You don't
That's
even
one of the
need,
things you can do with
yeah,
it. It's really just like I didn't even imagine that possibility until I was doing the bit of research that I needed to do for today. Like I hadn't imagined that as a possibility and I was like, "Wow, that's such a good use because they
it
do
is.
wander off all the time."
And some dogs are
And
really good at herding. Yeah, so they're gonna herd that
yeah,
kid right back to where they
German
belong.
shepherd.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
Okay,
that's genius.
so there's this messed up Japanese television program, and it
Ugh.
has it has this guy who's like he has a grill in front of him and he's like cooking this like delicious grilled meat, and he gets service dogs or like dogs that people think are like so loyal to them and they'll never go. Like if they say stay, the dog will stay, and he's like tempting them with the grilled meat, and like the majority, even
Oh,
service dogs, they fail.
that's so
Oh my
funny. That's
gosh.
a great
Of
commercial.
course. Well, I mean, a
Mhm.
dog is a dog at the end of the day, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
I
No
mean,
one's perfect.
they've all got a weakness.
It
Mhm.
was, but it's such a messed up show, and it just made me think of it. It's like, yeah, find the ADHD child, and as it's walking around, it's like, oh, a hot dog.
Yeah, yeah. Oh. Mhm.
ADHD service dog at that
Yeah.
point. Like,
I wonder if in the future we're gonna have service robots that are taking care of us. What do you think about that?
mm,
You know, have a robot go get your medication for you.
what, like
Huh?
Baymax?
I don't know. Yeah, sure.
Like,
But
yeah.
that's the next level, right? Pets can only do so much.
And then you see it standing over you as you're sleeping. You wake up in the middle of the
Ah!
night,
Oh
and your
my
service
gosh.
robot's just standing over your bed.
Staring at you.
No,
Yeah.
see, what you do is you get a therapy sugar glider so that it can fly
Oh,
from your shoulder to the cabinets and open them up and then go get your retrieve your prescription bottle and hug it under one arm while it flies to you.
I
No,
looked into getting
that's
one of
bullshit. It won't
those.
happen.
Or I mean, you have to get a pair of sugar gliders at least, I think. But I looked into
Yes.
getting those like 15 years ago or something, and just
Hmm.
learned that they were a lot of work and they're very needy. And so I was like, oh, not for me.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
and
Choose
Yeah.
wisely.
So
that's the thing I've learned about myself.
I think even though knowing, and because I had to study that too, and there's a ton of studies that show the positive effects on mental health for having an animal.
Hmm.
And one of the things is one of the biggest things is it reduces anxiety. And a lot of people with ADHD have anxiety as a comorbidity, and so it really does help with anxiety, and it helps calm and keep everything calm, and it does help make your patterns more cyclical,
Hmm.
your life patterns a little bit more cyclical. However,
Hmm.
the thing that has always turned me off, and I've had several dogs. I've
Hmm.
loved all of my dogs, but I've only liked a few.
Hmm. They're a lot of work.
Dogs are so needy.
Yeah, they are.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
they have a
that's a
lot of
good that's
needs.
it's a
Yeah.
good thing about them too. I mean, they're so loving, so sweet, most dogs. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's like having a half human in your house, kind of like
It's
it's
like
like
having an eternal baby.
yeah, yeah, like an eternal toddler kind of. You're
Yeah.
constantly picking up their poop, feeding them all the time. They can't do
Hmm.
anything for themselves that I mean, they can do some things obviously, but you have to do so much for them.
They
They
get
never grow up.
psychologically damaged if you don't come home on time. I mean,
Hmm.
like,
I know, I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot to owning a dog. It's a huge responsibility, and definitely nothing that should be done impulsively. Like if you have
Yeah.
ADHD and you're like, getting a pet would be a great idea. Do, do all your research. Hyper focus on that research. Research the shit out of
Hmm.
it.
Yeah.
Before you decide what animal to get. Don't just impulse purchase a dog. Or
Yeah.
or any animal. I mean, it's really sad how animals get returned to the shelters and pet stores when
Hmm.
people just, decide they don't like them anymore. It's like,
Yeah.
no, it's not a
Or,
toy.
rehomed a bunch of times,
Yeah.
or put into some kind of like a shelter that helps save certain breeds or whatever, some kind of rescue. But there are certain pets that are undoubtedly going to be right for certain people.
yeah.
And like Annette, Annette has owned a couple different kinds of animals. Ellen and I have owned a lot of different kinds of animals. So
Hmm.
when you guys, both of you, when you think of like an ADHD service animal type, type animal or therapy animal, what pops into your minds?
Cat, 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 cat.
And that's going with cats.
Me too. I'm gonna go with cat. Yep. They're so
Yeah.
low maintenance compared to dogs. They're what you're not going to get though is unconditional love. Cats will not always give you that.
And
They're
I'm okay with that.
True.
right. That's the thing. I don't want a clingy animal all the time. And I think so. Yeah, like you were saying, Jen, it just totally depends on what kind of person you are. If you're the kind of person that
Mhm.
you're like, gosh, I would love to have an animal that's just next to me all the time and sitting on my lap, get a lap dog,
Yeah.
do it. Maybe that's for
Yeah.
you. But I'm the type that I don't want to be touched all the time by my animals. I want to admire them from a distance and play with them for 10 minutes and then they run off, and it works out well for us. And if I
Yeah.
forget to scoop the litter box one day, not a big deal. Gonna do it the next day. Like I've got just enough routine that it keeps me in check, but there's enough flexibility with cat ownership that I think it's good for ADHD people that might make mistakes. There's just
Yeah.
more you have
Yeah,
to do
cuz
with a dog.
you can set up like a feeder so you don't have to feed it every
Yep.
day. You just look to see when the
Hmm.
feeder's empty and the cat will remind you.
That's what I do.
Um
Yep. I have a
um
continuous feeder, and then I
yeah.
give them wet food and treats every day. And so in the morning and then in the evening they know to ask for the wet food, and I open it. But if I wasn't there and I forgot to open a wet food for them, they would survive. They've got the
Yes.
dry food there. They'll be fine,
Mhm.
Yeah. I
I
would
think
feel,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. And also, I think I also mentioned on this podcast before that I like my relationships just a little dysfunctional. And
That's
Yes.
right. That's right. You like a
and
little toxicity.
yeah, and I think that's why I like cats, because it's
Yeah.
like
Oh, they're toxic
I
as
like
fuck.
I like the chase.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah. They will
You
love
really
bomb
have to
you.
earn that.
You do. You do.
you have to earn it
You have to earn the
Yep.
cat's love, and then sometimes
and
they will love bomb the
respect.
shit out of you, and then and respect, and then sometimes they will just, leave me alone.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, you
Yeah.
never know what you're gonna get sometimes. Yeah,
Mhm.
little
That
toxic.
makes it fun.
The
I heard
unpredictability.
somewhere that cats were the ultimate ADHD kid therapy pet, because if the
Oh,
kids go too far and pull on an ear or a tail, that cat will absolutely give them a consequence. Like,
that's a good point. Yeah,
and not
yeah,
one that's going to potentially, like,
Kill
sever an
them.
entire
Yeah.
arm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cats don't put up with that shit.
No.
Yeah. So you also have to
Yeah.
take into account your family and what that looks like. Do you have children who
Right.
are like unhinged and cannot be controlled, and they just like murder the crap out of animals with their love?
Mhm.
Like, okay, well
Yeah.
then maybe try a cat. That'll teach them a lesson. Like,
Okay, well let me tell you what happened with my kids. So I got my first cat when my son was 4, and he's incredibly ADHD combined type, but seems like just hyperactive. And I noticed that he didn't know how to treat the cats right away. He was too rough with them, even after I talked about it with him time and time again. And I mean, but what happened was the cats were scared of him and they'd run away, but he wanted to play with them. And so I kept telling him, you got to be really nice to them. You got to earn their love, show them you can be gentle, and then they will slowly trust you. And it's taken like 2 years, but they finally love him now. And it's so rewarding for
oh,
him to have that relationship, and he knows how to be gentle with them. So, but yeah, it was
yeah.
rough seeing him, pulling the tails or throwing toys at the cats. It's just like, oh my God, what have I done? But I
Yeah.
think that it's helping teach him empathy, because he was
Mhm.
like, but I want to play with the kitties. And I'm like, I know, buddy, but they're scared of you because you were being really mean. And so I think
Mhm.
he finally figured it out. And so that's what
That's
I
good.
love. Yeah. I love seeing
That's
that.
great.
Mhm.
I agree. Cats are great for kids, and both of the kids that I've had myself have definitely benefited from it, as well as our 3 olders that, they also have immensely benefited from having a cat in their lives, or maybe more than one cat.
Yeah.
So we just it's something that, kids can really learn from this experience,
Yeah,
especially the youngers.
nothing will soothe your soul like having a purring cat on your chest.
Oh, I
Oh,
know.
yeah.
It's the best
The purr.
feeling. It's so peaceful, and they
Yeah.
do show love,
They
when they want
They
do.
to,
calm you
on
right
their
down.
terms.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And also, their purring is supposed to be at a healing frequency. So they're like
Ooh.
technically healing you when they purr on you.
Whoa, that's
Yeah.
so fucking cool.
I know, right?
Yeah. And cats are
Sometimes,
great.
sometimes my cat Jade will just sit on my chest in the morning when I'm in bed and just
But
purr, and
you
I
know
love
what's
it.
funny though is that I've had lots of cats during my life and loved every single one of them. My
Mhm.
dogs, I've had some winners.
Mhm.
I've had some
Yeah.
really stupid
Mhm.
dogs. But like all of my cats, absolutely love them. And one thing I've always had is like when something happened to me or something was traumatizing or I was just really sad, cats know.
Mhm.
And
You know
like
what? It's true. I
in
believe
their
that.
everyday existence, they can be a little bit of an asshole.
Mhm.
But like when you're sad, it's like they sense it and they just like come up and snuggle with you every time.
Yes. Mhm. One
Mhm.
of my cats does
Yeah.
that. The other 2 are sharing a single brain cell, and I don't think they have any empathy. But my cat Jade, she could definitely I feel like she could tell when I'm feeling sad, or like there was one time I was sick and throwing up and she was just, there next to me, like, making sure I was okay. It's like, oh, love that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But
I've had some
yeah.
cats who have not responded to like therapy type cues. And I've had cats that have though. And those, when you get a cat like that, that seems to understand when you're sad or hurting, and
Hmm.
then they come up and they put that weight on you and they purr and they're so warm and they're just like, I'm here for you now. Like, it is so great to
I
have an animal like
know.
that. And there are dogs that can do that as well. They can put the weight on you and the warmth, and they don't purr obviously, but
Yeah.
they do, put their heads up for pets. And, petting a dog is also very therapeutic, just like you would be petting a cat, and that's therapeutic. Um, and I think the big selling point for dogs, since I've had a bunch of dogs, and unfortunately, Annette's had
You have
some
an
dogs that
asshole
she
dog.
thought were, oh, currently, oh my God. So true story, guys. I got this, I got
This
this
is gonna
tiny
turn
little,
everybody off from getting a dog. Just a
Uh-oh.
warning.
I know.
Content warning.
So content warning, this is going to be a trigger for super lovey dog people, but I'll get around to a more positive note.
No, just be
So
honest.
so
Share
I
your
have this
truth.
horrible little shit right now. And this dog is is absolutely like the ghost of a Victorian child encapsulated in dog form. It's like
Explain.
it So Pepper is such a charming little beast. Everyone thinks he's adorable. He is a very cute dog. He's cute. He has that classic terrier cuteness about him, but he is kind of a nightmare. He does not necessarily
Mm.
care if he makes you happy. There are lots, see, this is the big selling point for dogs, is they care to please their masters usually. But
Yeah.
then sometimes you get one.
That just
Sometimes you get a very special animal that's possessed
oh
and
shit.
also void of empathy. So
Whoa. You've got like a
Pepper,
sociopathic possessed dog.
so I'll share a story that I'm not personally too proud of, but this highlights the level of possession that this dog has. So a while back, years ago, when we were having very difficult financial times in our family, we were very close to homelessness. We had this dog, and we were getting by. We were fine. We were, as long as nothing went wrong. But of course, when you say that, something always goes wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the thing that went wrong was this dog decided to start eating things that were not food.
Oh
And
no.
ended up getting an intestinal obstruction, because no matter how clean we kept the floor, he would get into stuff, namely the kids'
Oh.
toys. He would find ways to open up toy boxes, or somehow like get under something. Like if we dropped a toy under something and didn't see it, he would somehow like snake underneath that thing to get it. And he started chewing up things like little rubber balls and Hatchimals and little wooden blocks and stuff
I
like
forgot
that.
about Hatchimals.
Yeah, I know, right? So we usually call those vacuum food, but
Dude,
in
so
this
you couldn't
case,
have any
they were
clutter.
dog food. No, we could not have any clutter. And we had, a child that was, preschool years at this point. And,
Oh.
so clutter is just a part of your life
Uh-huh.
if you
You
have a
embrace
child
it.
that young.
Yeah.
And we tried so hard, but this dog was so intense. And most of the stuff he ate, he could pass, but then he got to the point where he ate a couple things that he couldn't pass and he needed a surgery.
Oh
So at that
no.
time, we were so strapped that we were literally making decisions like, should we buy a couple of extra things at the grocery store, or should we afford gas? Like, it was
Mm.
that level that we happened to be at the time,
Yeah.
because of a number of different issues that we were having with health and all this stuff. And then this dog strikes. And and so we knew we couldn't afford the surgery. And at the time, there were no other resources in the public to, to apply for and get one. So we opted to give him away to a charity organization that helps rehabilitate animals. And they partner with veterinary schools. So they do the surgeries and they treat the animals that can't get treated. But part of the conditions of that is that you surrender your animal. And it was a very, very difficult choice because I'm like the only person on this earth besides my daughter that this dog likes. And so we have more of a relationship than the rest of the family. It was easy for everybody else. For me, it was different. I was like genuinely sad because this guy, I was supposed to be taking care of him and I felt horribly guilty that I couldn't take care of this and I couldn't afford a $5,000 surgery.
It wasn't your fault, but still.
No, it wasn't. It was just beyond my control, but I still felt bad about it. So I take this dog in, I surrender the animal, I give them all the toys, I give them all the leashes and everything we had. So hoping that it could all just go to a really good home and, somebody else would have to buy fewer things. So I was really sad about that. And then I get a call a week later. And they were like, so we just wanted to call and tell you that your dog is, doing fine. He's out of the surgery. He lived through it. And, and I was like, well, that's great to hear. I'm glad he'll go on, to live with a different family. And that's excellent. And she's like, well, actually, speaking of that, we don't think he's going to be rehomable. And I was like,
oh,
what? And she goes, well, this dog, I'll just say it. This dog only mildly tolerates one of our team members out of, 50 plus people. So, right. So he basically threw an absolute terrific conniption fit until he got back to us. They gave him back as long as we paid for only the supplies of the surgery, which we were able to conjure up during that time. And
oh my God, that's awesome.
So this dog pitched a fit until it came home.
It loved you.
As soon as it got home, it was just so happy, so happy. But it still does horrible things. It still tries to eat things that's not food. So we still have to be on top of it. And we haven't had an issue since, but still it worries me.
Yeah, Jen has a wonderful time trying to clip his nails.
Oh, God. So, another fun story. This dog, I have to put a sock over his head because he'll bite me. And he'll bite the nail trimmer. And I even have one of those cool...
Is that what they recommend doing? Putting a sock over
usually they say you can put a muzzle on the dog and then cover the dog's head and shoulders and upper body with a blanket and then sit on the dog so that it can't move. But I have to basically just put a sock over his head and immobilize all of his joints because he's actually very strong even though he's small. And he can really wrestle with you. It's surprising, but he can. And so he will try to throw you off of him in any way he can. If you don't have something over his mouth, he will bite you. He's horribly afraid of having his nails trimmed for some reason. And I even have one of those sand wheels that it sands the nail down. It's supposed to be less frightening and less horrible for dogs, and he just throws fits. So there have been a couple of times where I had immobilized the dog and he got so angry at me for completely immobilizing him that he pooped right in my face or right
oh my God.
As I'm trying to trim a back nail, he's crapping all over the place. So he's one of those that he will pee and poop all over himself and you just to get away from you.
No.
Vote for Pepper.
Vote for Pepper.
Is Pepper? How old is Pepper now?
He's 6, I want to say.
So you got another at least 10 years here.
He's already graying though. I think he's already shortened his lifespan. But
but
there are some really redeeming qualities of this dog, such as immense loyalty, and he
Oh,
does silly things to make us laugh, and he does like absolutely love to cuddle and snuggle, and he will snuggle with me all the time. And if I seem like I'm upset, he does come over and,
That's
you know,
good.
get in my face and try to get me to pet him. But, he is also very needy and super emotional as a dog, and, like,
Mhm.
cannot be left by himself for too many hours at a time, and he's kind of a wreck. But I've had dogs in the past that, like, particularly a German Shepherd Rottweiler mix who went with me literally everywhere, went in my car to and from work, um, would like, I walked him everywhere, he was always on leash next to me, and that dog was the most amazing animal I've ever had, and totally a therapy
Oh.
animal. So, like, if you are the kind of person who needs a thing, like some other presence next to you that's
Mhm.
soothing, opt for a dog because cats are not always gonna be around. They'll hide and they'll sleep during the day,
Mhm.
but dogs will be with you, um, you know, just as often as you allow them to be, basically.
Mhm. That
So
is so true.
yeah,
I
so I would say
I
yeah.
I was gonna say one thing I have witnessed. I was talking about this with Annette before the show, but I know someone who got their autistic daughter a I think when she was about 12, they got her a dog to use as a therapy dog, but this dog ended up having worse anxiety than the kid did. And so it ended up being horrible for this kid because this
Oh,
dog required
man.
so much work, so much attention, so much. It was always peeing everywhere. And so it's like, it
Sounds
can
like
go
Pepper.
wrong. Yeah. Well, I think this is it was like half black lab, half pit bull or something. I can't remember. It was kind of a bigger dog, but yeah.
Yeah.
And so they had the best intentions of getting an
Mhm.
animal for their kid, but I guess you just don't know what kind
Yeah.
of a personality that dog's gonna have.
yeah. So what do you do if you get a dog for like therapy reasons, but it's a giant asshole?
Hmm.
So, I mean, clearly we can't even get rid of this dog if we try at this point, so,
You already did, and
um
yeah.
So, but I don't actually wanna get rid of him. He is sweet to me and to my daughter, and he, you know, he really does have a good relationship, just not with the entire family or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but he like I guess you just have to focus on the positive qualities of the dog and you know think about what they could do for you, like what
Mm-hmm.
need they could fulfill. Any dog is going to be able to fulfill the need of petting, you know, that the tension reducer of petting the animal and
Yeah.
brushing it and caring for it. And almost every dog is going to fulfill the snuggling need and that warmth and
Mm-hmm.
weight that can reduce anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Every single dog is going to demand a schedule. So, for ADHD people who struggle with maintaining a schedule, you know, setting a time to go walk that animal at a certain time of day every single day is still going to be a thing, whether the dog is acting out or not. You still have to take them on that walk, you know?
Yeah. So that could either be
So,
really good for you, or it could
mhm.
ruin your life because you're chained to this task every day. And if you resent it, then that
Usually
sucks.
dogs, like, even dogs that are kind of, you know, miserable animals get excited for a walk. So, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that's usually a point of excitement, and the dog is
Oh, well,
probably
sure.
going to be more enjoyable during that time.
No, but not all humans are excited for walks.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
was
want to
gonna
go
That's
on a
true.
walk.
I was just gonna say that
Yeah.
everything Jen is saying is
Hmm.
like that's how you know she's a dog person.
Totally, totally. Yeah, because you don't mind
Yeah.
doing all that shit. To me, it sounds
No.
awful. But I
Yeah.
had I had a golden retriever when I was a kid, and I loved that dog.
I
Great
remember
dog.
that dog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tucker. But
Yeah.
but my brother and I, we didn't do shit to help take care of that dog. My mom did all the work. Even though we promised we would do it, we did not.
Of
And
course.
so, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think that's just what happens sometimes. So I don't, I saw how much work it was. She would take that dog on runs every day. I was like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
my girls want either a cat or a dog, and I have like the first floor of my house is a business, and we live on the second and
Mhm.
third floor. So having a big dog, you
Mm.
can't really. The stairs is kind of a problem. So,
Yeah.
and Japanese stairs are quite steep. So I don't
Mm.
foresee being able to have a big dog. The only dog I would ever have is a big dog because I don't like little dogs, and they're just
Mm-hmm.
they're just an ornamental. Big
Mhm.
dogs are like
Yeah.
they serve a purpose. Little dogs are ornament. I know all the dog lovers are gonna like hate me for that, but like really, little dogs, they're just ornamental. And
Well, my roommate has a 5-pound Chihuahua,
oh
and
god,
yeah, his name's Grogu. He's adorable.
But
I personally would not want this animal because he's very clingy. All he wants to do is sit in her lap or be in bed with her. But she loves it. That's what she
yeah.
wants, you
See,
know?
dog
Yeah.
yeah.
person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Mhm.
exactly. Like that's the sort of thing that to me I'm like, "Oh, that sounds nice actually." Like
Yeah.
but, but I at the same time I actually don't really like most little dogs. I have had a few
Mhm.
little dogs that I just loved so much. They were great, but they also were not the stereotypical tiny dogs that were yappy and snappy and
Mhm.
Pepper is
Yeah, this Chihuahua's very
bordering
quiet.
on he Pepper borders on a stereotypical old lady little dog. He should have been had by an old lady. I really think that an old lady would have been perfect, a perfect fit for this animal. But like one that, lives maybe with one other person or maybe even alone. Like but he is what he is, and we got him when we were renting and we couldn't have a larger dog, which is my preference. I absolutely love larger dogs
Mhm.
because their temperament is just right. They tend to be a little bit less skittish and anxiety prone, but to that
Mhm.
effect, I'm going to say therapy dog breeds, you may not want to consider a terrier for that
Mm.
because I've
Mm.
had a couple I've either I or close family members have had a couple different kinds of terriers. None of them have been particularly great for therapy because they all seem to have a higher working anxiety level than other dogs, and that's the kind of thing that can even make your own anxiety worse.
Oh yeah.
So, um
Chihuahuas too.
yeah, so
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. No, but
some
this
of them.
this this my
I've
roommate's
actually
dog
met a
is
chihuahua that was
quiet.
really chill.
Yes, exactly. Grogu is so chill. He's also like 5 years old, but yeah,
Ah,
I've only heard him bark like twice. It's crazy.
Yeah,
oh wow.
I've met
Mm-hmm.
so many Chihuahuas with anxiety disorders, and I'm just like,
Oh yeah, most of
Like
them look
wow.
like little wind-up toys that are just shaking with anxiety.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
Um.
I want to say though, something I've realized as we're talking
Mm-hmm.
is,
Mhm.
Jen, you're more of a dog person and you like that physical closeness, and that's how you deal with your kids too. And then
Yeah.
Oh, you're very
Ellen
cuddly
and
with your
I,
kids.
yeah,
Yeah.
and Ellen and I
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
are more standoffish, love when you want. That's why we like cats, and that's also how we deal
Yeah.
with our kids.
Mm-hmm. That is
Yeah,
so
yeah,
true.
I
My
am
kids aren't
super
dripping off
hands-on.
of me with affection, and I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Yeah, my kids are constantly climbing all over me and, from day 1 we're just these little monkey Klingons and that's fine
Oh.
because I am fine with that. Like I actually like tons of cuddles and snuggles and hugs all the time. It doesn't matter. Like I'm just like, okay, cool, I'm up for it. Like not with strangers, of course. I have stranger danger, but like
I'm
but
up for it all the time. Yeah.
if I know you.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but yeah, like so I do like that very physical contact and physical
Mm-hmm.
contact soothes me.
Mm-hmm.
So because physical contact soothes me, a large
Mm.
dog or even a smaller dog is right up my alley. But
This
you
makes so
know what
much sense.
also is a very amazing emotional
You're
therapy
gonna
animal?
say that goddamn small thing that lives in your house, those two little
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Guinea pigs. Guinea pigs. We
Oh,
have two
so
guinea
cute.
pigs, a pair of them. And I legit thought when I agreed to get these little piss rats for my kids that they were going to be the bane of my existence. I thought that
Oh, you
they
were
were
dreading
going to
it?
be the most horrible things because I've never considered getting a guinea pig ever before until
Yeah.
they begged for them nonstop. So, I was like, okay, well, maybe, I guess they're, it's okay. We can
Mhm.
tolerate them. They don't live too long. Like this is
Mhm,
my
yeah.
justification. However, I love those guinea pigs just as much as my kids do now.
Oh.
And and I was wrong. Guinea pigs,
Mhm.
like the thing that makes them a great therapy animal for us particularly is because we all like that physical sensation of weight and warmth on our bodies to soothe
Mhm.
us. So because we're very physical that way, the guinea pig just kind of snuggles with you and it stays on your skin, and it or like on a shoulder or like up on a chest. You hold it and it just stays there, and it likes to be cuddled, and you can pet it for I don't know, until it pees all over you.
They
See?
will they will stay on your shoulder?
If
Yeah.
You
they're
said it'll
small
say
enough, yeah.
oh,
Yeah, or
I thought
like
you
they'll
said
be up
yeah.
propped near your shoulder and like
Yeah.
kind of like you'll have to support them, of course. So you can't
Oh,
just let them
okay.
fall
I
because
was picturing
they
you, like,
don't
walking
jump.
around with it on your shoulder. Okay, yeah.
Oh no.
But you know what you can do that with, though, are rats, and I've got 3 pet rats, and I love
Oh yeah.
them. Yeah, one of them is
Rats are
very
great
smart.
too.
They're pocket puppies. They're literally like little miniature dogs with gross tails. So you just, as long as the tail
Yeah.
doesn't bother you, But one of my rats is, I feel like she's very smart, extremely affectionate, so sweet. The other two, I guess it's kind of a similar situation to my cats. The other two are kind of like, I call them NPC rats because they just kind of, they're like my rats. They're like my rats' pet rats. That's kind of,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And so, but one of my rats, though, her name's Cloudy. I know it sounds crazy. I feel like I got a little bond with this rat, and we're buddies, and I really appreciate
Oh.
her.
I had
So,
rats.
yeah. Oh,
And
yeah?
yeah, when I was in
Mhm.
high school, my
I
sister had
remember
rats.
that.
We had rats and
Oh, okay.
yeah, so and one of the rats' name was Sasha, and Sasha was
Nice.
great. Sasha would like we'd leave the cage open, she'd just like come up
Mhm.
and sit on your shoulder. We'd walk around the house with her, like
Yeah, they're
she
so
was hella
fun.
Mhm.
smart and hella cool. And like
Mhm.
yeah, rats
Mhm.
are amazing pets and they're very
Yeah,
They are.
smart.
they are.
I've
They
also
are.
had rats,
Some of them.
multiple pairs of rats, and they are amazing creatures. They do have unique personalities like a dog or a cat would.
Yeah.
Guinea pigs do too, surprisingly, but rats have like this crazy ability to just be on you for a long period of time. Um,
Yeah.
like guinea pigs have about a 15-minute timer on them because they have to pee every
Mhm.
15 minutes. Rats can
Mm.
go longer than guinea pigs for some reason. I don't know how
It's
this works
true.
because they're a smaller animal, and you would never think that they would be able to survive for like, an hour's worth of outings without peeing or pooping on you, but somehow they do.
It's true.
And
My 6-year-old
yeah.
will play with the rat for like an hour, and the rat will like run around on his bed with him, and he loves it. And
And
it is so, she never pees or poops.
no, my rat would always run back to her cage to go to the bathroom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So okay, so
Yeah.
I definitely recommend rats as a pet for people with ADHD because you'll get all your needs met. The only thing you have to do is clean the cage. I mean, I do about once a week, and that can be a
Mhm.
very annoying task, I will say, because it depends on the cage you have to disassemble it, and oh my god, it can
Mhm.
just be such a mess sometimes with the poop. So
Right.
downside there is cleaning up after them. Got to make sure they're fed too, of course, and water. But critters are so
Mhm.
great, and I feel like you really can get a lot of love from them, even
Yeah.
though they're not as smart as
Mhm.
dogs, but
Yeah.
they're affectionate.
Guinea pigs are not terribly intelligent.
I
Rats are
can
very
believe that.
intelligent. But guinea pigs are not terribly intelligent, and because of that, you actually have to clean their cage more often than you would clean a rat cage. You need to clean the cage,
Ah.
do like, very basic sweep ups to get all the poops out of the way cuz when okay, so I didn't realize that guinea pigs were called that for a particular reason, but they eat all the time. Like they are the
Oh.
ultimate snack animals,
Oh, they
and
are little pigs.
they they are actually little furry pigs, and they eat vegetables constantly, and, because of that, they just emit a landslide of poop because they pee and poop every
Ah!
15 minutes, and they'll, like, scatter 10 poops at a time or something like that.
Oh,
So you
yeah.
actually do have to go in and sweep all that stuff up every day or two and then go and clean. Um, you have to clean out their cage and like change their bedding once a
Hmm.
week. Otherwise, the ammonia starts to build up too much.
Oh, okay. So
Um,
it sounds like they're more work than rats are. And mice
they
too.
are
Mice are pretty
more.
low maintenance, but I feel like rats are a little more cuddly than mice are, you
If
know?
you are in a small living space and you want a therapy animal that can be with you for long periods of time and you only have to really clean up after it once a week and you don't want to spend a lot on food, get a rat.
Yep,
If
rat.
you are okay with dropping a bunch of money on fruits and vegetables and you're
Mm.
okay with doing the daily or of every other day task of sweeping up after an animal and you like the fact that guinea pigs are more talkative than rats are because they do make lots of different sounds and they have funny little personalities, it's impossible to be mad at them
Mm.
because they're happy all the time
Oh.
and they do show their happiness in a very physical way. They do this thing called popcorning where they literally jump for joy and they do this wiggle in the air and
Oh.
it's cute, it's adorable. You can't possibly be mad at them for anything even though they poop
I
everywhere.
love it. Rats
So
do that.
like
Rats do that thing called boggling, where their eyes kind of get big when they're really excited. It's so cute.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're okay with that level of commitment, then a guinea pig would be fine. You do have to get like a larger hutch for them, and you know, a
Hmm.
living setup is much bigger than it would be for rats, because
I
they
think.
don't climb and
Oh,
they need
right.
like
Rats
lateral
climb.
space to run.
Hmm. Yeah.
So,
Birds, I think, are a lot of cleanup too. My cousin has a few birds, and they're not exactly cuddly. Yeah,
Annette,
and that's shaking your head.
Annette's face.
No, I
Oh
mean,
God,
I
that
think
look.
I think
They
talking birds are cool because you can talk with them and they're fun and they're novelty, but like you can't cuddle with them, and I don't know, it's a different kind of relationship.
they
So I wouldn't
never
recommend that.
shut up.
That too. That too.
Yeah.
Oh,
There
Yeah.
are
I
people out there
hate
who are bird
birds.
people.
Yes.
There are bird
Oh,
people in the world,
If
though.
you want to quiet, that's true. Oh yeah, some
yeah,
people, birds are their
Yeah.
soul animal. Yeah,
yeah.
that's their pet they need.
Yeah.
Hmm. And
Absolutely. And they like that talkative aspect, that like,
hmm,
interactive, I teach it words and it parrots things back to me kind of thing. Well,
yeah,
then, go for it.
Yeah,
yeah.
If that's up.
there's a house across the street from me that has birds, and like the woman opens the door and she's vacuuming cleaning in the morning and she's talking to the birds, and
Uh,
all I hear is and I'm just like, God, I would go nuts.
oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
see, I
Okay.
can tune stuff out really well, so I would ignore it
Oh
completely
yeah.
and it would be fine.
So okay, so that I feel like we say this on every episode, but get to know yourself. Get to
Yeah.
know
Yes. Do
what your
soul
likes
searching.
and dislikes. Yeah, make a whole list of like what are the traits you would want in a pet. Do you want a pet that needs you all the time, or do you want a pet that's a little more
Mhm.
independent? Yeah, then you can narrow it down from there. I mean, God,
Yeah.
there's so many fucking pets, turtles, frogs. Do your research though, people. Do so much research. Do not get a
Yeah.
pet on an impulse purchase. Do not get a pet the
No.
same day you came up with the idea. Sleep on it.
No. Absolutely sleep on it.
Amen.
Yeah.
Because if you are getting this animal for your sanity, it needs to fit into your realm of sanity. It
Right.
cannot be
Yep.
Hmm.
outside of the bounds of your
Yeah.
sanity.
Yeah.
So, like for Annette, a bird would be outside of her realm of sanity because she wants an animal that's quiet. She
Hmm.
does not want a talkative animal. My guinea pigs would torture the shit out of her.
Yeah.
Um, she would hate them, absolutely hate them, even if she thinks it's funny when they knock each other around.
Hmm.
But like Ellen might like the guinea pigs more. I don't know.
Yeah.
She might be fine with them.
The
But
rats
still.
are not, the rats make a little bit of noise, and
Yeah,
sometimes you
they're
can
not
hear them on their
noisy.
water bottle, but yeah, they don't really chatter like guinea pigs do. So they're
Yeah.
I don't really
And
hear them
yippy
too often.
dogs. Yeah, see,
Hmm.
Mm-mm.
so like, and I like dogs. Like, I love my friends' dogs. I will hang out with my friends' dogs and like, we got a thing going. I'm great
Hmm.
with I
Hmm.
like dogs. I just can never own one. Like,
Yeah.
I don't,
I'm the
Yeah.
same way. I'm the same
yeah,
way. I love other people's
Yeah.
dogs, love visiting my friends' dogs, and it's like, I am so glad I don't have to take care of you, but
yeah.
I love petting you.
And
Yeah.
I'm fine with taking care of dogs. I love
Yeah.
dogs. I will take
Mhm.
care of them and walk them and pet them and snuggle them and let them wrestle with me sometimes. And like, it's fine. I'm fine with that kind of thing because I'm
Mhm.
just kind of that way.
That's how you're
But,
built. Yeah.
yeah, like I like a more physical interaction and that's why I'm suitable for that. But,
Mhm.
even though I have a demon animal right now, I am about to
Hmm.
start trying to rehabilitate after he's had this major surgery. He kind of went a little bit weird mentally. So, I'm
Mm.
trying to like help rehabilitate this animal so that he's, much more of
Mhm.
a therapy type animal and we'll see if I can do it. I don't have much faith in this, to be honest with you.
Your love can transform this creature.
But I'm going to make I just got to the point recently where I'm like, you know what? I need to restart my effort. I started out great. Things started sliding downhill. They got really bad. Then we had a whole bunch of other stuff that happened. I really need to try something else to bond with this dog to the point
Mm.
where he's more of a, therapy
Mhm.
type animal. That is why I got him in the first place. Ironically,
Yeah.
he was supposed to be my therapy pet, but I am his therapy human right now. So I have to turn
Oh.
this back around so
Mhm.
that
That's
so that,
exactly what happens sometimes.
the yeah, just the
Yeah.
the the places need to switch. So we'll
Yeah.
see if I can do it.
Maybe as he gets older, he'll mellow out a little more and be more
That's possible.
snuggly.
Terriers tend to do
Yeah.
that, but
I mean, I think that that's also a tip too. If you're someone who you're like, man, I would love a dog. I just don't know if I could handle like a really excitable dog. Maybe a senior dog would be good for you. There's lots of those at the shelters, I'm sure. Get
plus,
a
there are many larger breed dogs that are much more calm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
The
definitely.
larger a dog gets, the calmer it tends to be. And of
Mhm.
course, there are always outliers, personality
Golden
outliers, but
retrievers, golden
yeah,
labs. Yeah, yeah.
but the larger they get, the calmer they tend to be simply because it takes so much energy to,
Yeah,
rock it all around like a tiny little dog would do. They'd never be able to do it. So, um,
exactly.
but you think Rottweiler and they're so calm. Oh my God, so
Mhm.
calm. And then
Or
you think
Newfoundland.
a Newfoundland, but then if you think Boxer, oh my God, they're crack
Oh.
addicts. Like,
Oh my god.
like so
Wild.
choose
You have to know.
wisely.
Yep, research the breeds and get to,
And oh, by the way,
spend
speaking of breeds, I
Mhm.
didn't know that there were breeds of guinea pigs when I got the guinea pigs. There are specific breeds of guinea pigs.
Oh.
And you do actually need to research that too. Don't just go to Petco and pick up a guinea pig
Mhm.
because we ended up with two different breeds of guinea pigs that were paired in the same thing. We didn't
Oh.
know that they were two different breeds and they have two strikingly different personalities. One is
Oh.
very fiery and vocal and will like take your clothes and rip at them to tell you to put her back in her cage. She's very aggressive. The
Mhm.
other one is a long hair, turned out to be a long hair guinea pig. They have short hair when they're babies, so you can't tell. Um, but
Mm.
she turned out to be a long hair, and they are so mellow and sweet, and they just lay on you, and they're like cool, and she'll just like lick your neck,
Oh. I
and
love
and
that.
yeah, sweetie.
My rats
The
will
other
lick
one
me
is
too.
absolutely entertaining, though. The other
Yep.
one's definitely good entertainment.
Good. So,
Yeah.
yeah, those are all of our recommendations, I guess. Just know
Yeah.
yourself, know
Yeah.
what kind of pet you want. Don't
Hmm.
overcommit, Yeah, yeah.
Research breeds of any animal that you are interested in. Do not just say one
Yeah.
dog is like the other, or one bird is like the other, or one guinea pig is like the other.
Yeah, they're
They
not.
have personalities, guys. Um,
Mhm.
so
And my
yeah.
Yep.
last tip is going to be make sure that you take into account your living situation, your work
Mhm.
Hmm.
situation, and what your
Hmm.
life can handle.
Yeah, be
Because,
realistic.
yeah,
Yeah.
there are some places where you
Yeah.
can't have a big animal. There are jobs that you have where you
Mhm.
cannot dedicate that time.
Yeah.
So,
This is a
Hmm.
yeah,
big commitment. Getting a pet is like a huge responsibility. Don't take it lightly. Yeah.
amen.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, with that being said, um, thank you all for listening once again to our
Yeah.
somewhat winding shows. I know sometimes we go a little off topic and then get back on, but that's part of the fun, I guess, when you're not masking.
Could be the
So,
ADHD. Yeah.
yeah, so
Maybe.
thank you guys for being on this train with us. If you have any questions about anything we've just discussed or suggestions for future episodes, give us a ring. You can go to the contact page at basiltov.com. You can go to our Facebook, our TikTok, our YouTube, and send us messages
Our
that way. Or you
houses.
can just email us at basiltovpodcast@gmail.com, and we can get back to you that way. And also Reddit too. We're on there. Usually Ellen and Annette, but we're on
Mhm.
there. So
We
thanks
out
once again
there.
for joining in, and Basiltov.
Basil
Positive.
time.